What do you make of this new approach by the administration? We've got a double-sided blockade, but now a president who wants to start escorting at least some ships through the strait. Is this a plan, and is it sustainable?
It's welcome news, but we'll have to see how it goes. And it's probably a situation where you don't want to be first.
Yeah.
And let's see how this opens up. We're on day 67, and that means nearly 7,000 vessels that normally would have crossed back and forth over the strait have not had the opportunity to do so.
Well, it's okay. So that's interesting. What are you hearing from shipping companies when they talk to their insurers about, hey, should we get in line here? Should we follow the president in gunning it through the strait?
In the early hours since this announcement, Joe, it's definitely been a wait-and-see attitude.
Okay.
The insurance premiums, war risk premiums, and the heightened freight rates have all been discussed over the past 2 months. Very expensive proposition just to try this. But the thought process, number one, is the safety and security of the crews that have been on those vessels.
And they're not about to tempt fate here, obviously, without insurance coverage. So give us state of play at the port itself, Gene. Are things getting quiet? What's the impact on your business?
It's been remarkable, Joe. The cargo moving between Asia and the United States has been unimpeded. I was in China just in the past 2 weeks, and I saw from a number of ports firsthand in Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Hong Kong that the cargo schedules and the ships are moving in and out as planned. There's not a big backup of Middle East cargo because shortly after the war started on February 28th, all services got stopped right at that point.
Okay.
So we're seeing real good fluidity. The price of vessel fuel has doubled over this time. That cost is being passed on through the supply chain.
Fascinating. You mentioned China. I have to ask quickly, since you brought it up. The president will be there to meet with President Xi next week. What message do you want him to bring?
Well, we got to keep the temperature down and trade flowing. China still is 40% of our business portfolio and our largest trading partner by 2.5 times. If we can keep these products moving with the rules of engagement set, that's all businesses have asked. Tell me the ground rules so I can operate around them.
Okay. If we start seeing physical shortages in Asia, as most all are predicting, does that lower the traffic of shipping into your port?
It really depends right now. We're hearing more on the jet fuel side than anything else. The bunkering capability, as we call it, filling up these big container ships, can be done in a myriad of places, including here in Los Angeles and Long Beach, where the supply remains strong.
Fascinating. So in the weeks ahead, this is going to be a critical time to gauge the real impact. Many have told us that what we've seen so far is nothing, that in the weeks ahead, if the strait remains closed, that's when you'll start seeing the difference. Do you believe that's the case?
I do. Supplies are dwindling in Southeast Asia, particularly, and with jet fuel in Europe. We supply 2/3 of the jet fuel to LAX airport out of the Port of Los Angeles, and those inventory levels remain good here.
Interesting. I held a panel today at Milken, and I was delighted to see that you were there, Gene, about the geopolitics of supply, which is what you and I talk about whenever we are together. One of the audience questions had to do with tariffs, and it was the first time that word came up in the conversation. How much of a concern is this for shippers using your port? Is it still top of mind, or is this the new normal?
It is, and even for the most seasoned professional, Joe, it's kind of tough to keep up with.
Yeah.
The Section 122 tariffs of the Trade Act 1974 are set to expire on July 24th. And while the 310 section investigations continue, most importers are wondering now what comes after this July 24th deadline of the 150 days. So trying to gear up to understand landed costs as we head in directly to the traditional peak season of imports here in LA.
So you put that all together here, and you've got fuel doubling in price, to your point, that we're pumping into these tankers and cargo ships. You've got that additional impact on prices that are being passed along through the chain, to your point. What do you expect the impact on broader inflation will be by the end of the year if this doesn't come to an end?
Yeah, well, it's been interesting. Inflation is not runaway per se, but it still remains elevated. And even with all of the cost management that private sector companies, ports, and supply chain partners have done, we still can't seem to bring that down. And it's because of the effect of the tariffs and some other inefficiencies that have been borne out. Coffee and bananas are up over 10% at the store by recent count. So this continues to be pressurized on those goods, and not just the finished retail, but the parts and components for American American factories.
The impact of diesel at a record high is huge as well. It's not just the boats coming into your port, it's the trucks that are picking up the goods and leaving with it. How disruptive has this been for the ground shipping industry?
That's right. Here in Southern California, diesel prices are up 50%
Incredible.
versus a year ago. And as you remember, Joe, about 2/3 of all the cargo that moves in and out of the port moves by truck to its next stage.
Yeah.
So that's really putting a lot of pressure on the truck community, most of which are small to medium-sized business people.
So this is a double whammy. You could argue tariffs and the energy costs due to this conflict for shippers. They all have this in common. When are you going to know what the impact is at the end of the year, the holiday shipping season, when everyone's calling you to do an interview to find out if their presents are going to show up on time?
Yeah, I think that the vital statistics of the port, a readout I get every morning, look great. The velocity of cargo, how quickly the longshore members are rolling these ships in and out, all of that looks really good. And even our April numbers will be a little bit elevated. So compared to a 5-year average, we're doing really well on cargo volume. Let's not forget, though, that we're really behind pace on agricultural products being exported. Soybeans, wheat, nuts, dates, etc., are really down because countries that we normally trade with have made deals with others.
That's fascinating, Gene. Will China join that list if this meeting does not go well with President Trump?
Last year, soybeans to China from the United States were down 90% year on year. This is one of the areas that we hope the two leaders can talk about, because we only consume about 1/3 of all the crops that we harvest in the United States. Balance 2/3 go to renewable energy and overseas markets. This is a key part of our export forecast.